Samsung phones have long been some of the most feature-rich phones on the market. And that means there's plenty you can find if you're happy to do a little bit of exploring in the software. So whether you want to AirDrop files with your iPhone using friends, remove background audio from videos on YouTube, edit photos with voice commands, or just simply bring back the power button like the old days, there's plenty here to sink your teeth into. I'm Cam Bunton from Trusted Reviews, and in this video I'm going to show you some of my favourite tips, tricks and features to try on your Galaxy S26, S26 Plus and Ultra. And while you're here, if you do like this video and find it useful, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe and tap that notification bell. Thank you. AirDrop to Apple devices. Just like the Google Pixel before it, Samsung Galaxy devices can now send and receive files and photos and all manner of other content over AirDrop, sending and receiving with iPhones, Macs and iPads for the first time. There are a couple of things you should check before sending and receiving just to make sure it's set up properly though. First, open the AirDrop settings on your Apple device and make sure you've enabled the feature to receive it from everyone, because there's a chance it won't recognize your Samsung device as belonging to a contact that you trust. You also need to check the Samsung phone has the Apple sharing feature enabled. So open Settings, search for the Quick Share settings, then open the menu and find a toggle switch next to Share with Apple devices. You also need to make sure both your devices have their Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled. Now you're ready to send from your Samsung. Open the file you want to send. I'm using a photo from the Gallery app as an example. Tap the share icon and choose Quick Share from the pop-up. If everything is set up, your Apple device should now show up in the Nearby Devices window. Tap your Apple device and it'll share the file. On your Apple device, you might get a pop-up asking if you want to save it to your Downloads or Photos album if it's a Mac, for instance if you send a photo, so just pick the one you want and it should send in a couple of seconds. Edit photos with voice commands. There's a Bixby AI-powered feature that lets you make changes to your photos using simple voice commands. So you can make them brighter, darker, or even replace backgrounds and items in the frame using generative AI. Open the Gallery app and find a photo you'd like to make changes to. Now tap the little stars in the bottom toolbar. This is your AI editing tool. On the next screen you'll see a few options, but choose the Create option and tap on the field that says Describe what to change. Now you can pretty much try anything you want. You can type using the keyboard or use voice dictation to describe changes that you want to make. So for this selfie, I can say replace the background so it looks like it's sunset, and within a few seconds after tapping generate, it'll come up with a new photo, and even white balances the main subject to match the sunset colours. I could also say something like give me sunglasses and a baseball cap, and it does a pretty good job of creating a photorealistic edit, even to the point where it creates the reflection of your hands holding your phone in the lenses, surrounded by scenery in the background out of view. It's pretty awesome. Really though, your imagination is the only real limit here. There are things that don't work, so just give it a go and see what happens. Audio Eraser for YouTube and Netflix. So Audio Eraser was upgraded in the Galaxy S26 so that not only can it remove background noise from your video and audio recordings, but it can in real time adjust audio levels in anything you're watching on YouTube or Netflix or other video apps. With it enabled, you can, for instance, make background music quieter and make the speaker's voice more prominent. It also works for getting rid of or lowering the volume of crowd noise in sports videos. All you have to do to use it is play your video in whatever app you're using, then drop down your settings from the top and you should see an audio eraser option appear. Tap on it and then toggle it on and go through the settings and change them until it sounds the way that you want it to be. Horizon lock your videos. Shooting video on your Galaxy S26, you now have the option to enable Horizon Lock. Think of this as a very extreme stabilization that not only steadies movement, but ensures that your subject, be it the person or object, and the horizon behind them stay steady and horizontal, regardless of how much you move your phone. Even if you rotate or spin it 180 or 360 degrees, the video in the end should look like you shot it still for the most part. To enable it, open your camera and go to shoot video as normal. Now look for the little icon at the top that looks like a person running. This is your stabilization tool. When you tap on it, you'll see three different options. Choose the one that looks like a running person in a square focus marker with a line. Now when you shoot, the subject stays horizontal even if you're moving or shaking the phone on purpose. Natural language system controls. This isn't really a tip you need to enable or dive in through any settings, but just something for you to give a go. Bixby, Samsung's on-device assistant, is actually very useful for controlling system settings like screen eye comfort or checking what's on your schedule. You don't need to learn any specific words or phrases, just try more conversational things like, "This screen glare is starting to hurt my eyes, is there anything you can change?" And it should bring up the Eye Comfort Shield settings for you, and might even surface the toggle switch right there within the Bixby interface that you can switch on without needing to go into the settings menu at all. Resize and reorganize your quick settings controls. Now, in more recent versions of Samsung's Android skin, you can customize the control center or quick settings tiles a lot more than you used to be able to. You can reorganize, move them around, but also resize and reorientate them. So if you want your brightness and volume sliders to be smaller or placed vertically, you can adjust them to make them that way. Just swipe down the quick settings as normal and tap the pencil icon at the top to edit the sheet. You'll now see an outline around most of those controls, with a thicker tab on one side. You can drag this tab to resize it and change it to a vertical control. You can also adjust them and move them around just by pressing and holding and moving them as you would an app icon. Full screen always on display. Now, as has become the trend now that displays can refresh at super low rates, the always-on display on your Samsung phone can now be used to display a dimmed version of your home screen wallpaper instead of just a plain black screen. And you can have it on all the time, although it's worth noting if you do enable that, your battery will probably take a hit. To enable the full screen wallpaper option and to have it on all day, head to Settings and then open Lock Screen and AOD. Now tap on Always on Display. Make sure it's toggled on and also toggle on the Show Lock Screen Wallpaper option if it's not already on. By default, it'll only show when you tap the screen, but if you want it to be on all the time, just tap on When to Show. You can choose from a few different options here, including setting a schedule, but the smartest option is Auto. This one will show all the time unless it detects that it's in a dark place like your pocket or if it's nighttime and you're sleeping. Bring back the power button. Now, I put this one in every single tips video that I make because for the life of me, I never remember the right button combination for switching off a phone. Like using an old USB-A port, the first thing you try is always wrong. But if you want, you can make the side button a power button again instead of it launching your assistant. Open Settings and then Advanced Features. Now choose Side Button. And you'll see two options, one for long pressing and the other for double pressing. Choose the long press option and on the next screen select Power Off menu instead of the assistants. Now when you press and hold the side button, it'll load the power off and reboot options just like it used to years ago. Custom shortcut key. Now, as well as making it a power button, you can also get the side button to launch just about anything with a double press. The default is to launch the camera, but if you head to Settings, then Advanced Features and then Side Button, choose double press on the next screen and you'll see a list of different options. You might find it useful to launch your torch, start a voice recording, or even launch your Samsung Wallet, but if you head to the bottom two options, you can have it either launch a specific app that you've got installed, or even launch a routine that you've set up in Samsung Modes and Routines. Me personally, I usually have it launch Google Wallet for quick payment, or quickly launching Shazam to recognize music. Once set up, a quick double press will launch your chosen feature or app. Bypass charging. Now, another feature that's been around for a couple of years now is called bypass charging, and it does exactly what the name suggests. If you have it enabled and you're playing a game, plugging in the phone to a power delivery compatible charger will not charge the battery. Instead, just delivers power straight to the internal components to power the game. It's something laptops did for years automatically, but now can be enabled on your phone. The benefit is that the phone doesn't heat up as much, and also means the battery isn't charging and discharging at the same time, which helps the battery stay healthier for longer. To enable it, you need to head to Settings, Advanced Features, and then find Game Booster Settings. Plug in your phone into a compatible power delivery charger and make sure it's over 20% filled. You should now see a bypass charging while gaming option go from grayed out to selectable. So just toggle it on. And now when you're gaming, your power adapter should be powering your components, bypassing the battery. Set a charging limit. Now, most phones these days have built-in battery protection to make sure they're not charging in a way that's harmful. Usually that means charging to 80% overnight and then only doing the last 20% in time for when you wake up. But if you'd rather set a manual limit yourself, you can do that. Open Settings and then Battery. Now find Battery Protection and make sure it's toggled on. Tap on it and on the next screen you'll see two options, Basic or Maximum. Basic with sleep time protection enabled is exactly what I described just now. But to set a maximum instead, just choose that setting, and now choose between 80, 85, 90 or 95% based on how much you think you'll need to get you through a day. Check your battery health. Within Samsung's battery settings, there's an option you can select to view important battery health settings like how much of its original capacity is left and how many times you've done a full empty and a refill. Open Settings and Battery and then find Battery Information. Here you can see all your battery stats, including when it was manufactured and the first day it was used, and how many times you've charged charged it fully from 0 to 100. Palm swipe to screenshot. This one's a bit of an oldie and one I always forget is there, but there's a gesture where you can swipe the side of your hand across the display in one motion and it'll take a screenshot. It should be enabled by default, so give it a go. If it's not, go to Settings, Advanced Features, then Motions and Gestures, and just enable the option called Palm Swipe to Capture. One-handed mode. Now that Android phones all have really big displays, most of them now have a one-handed mode, or something similar. You can swipe down with your thumb on the navigation bar at the bottom of the display, and it reduces and shrinks down the user interface to make everything reachable with your thumb. To enable it, open Settings, Advanced Features. About halfway down you should see a toggle for one-handed mode, so just switch it on to enable the feature. Find missed notifications. Now sometimes when I get a notification I dismiss it and lose it and then don't remember I got it in the first place. But thankfully Samsung has a feature that can remember any notifications your phone gets, and you can go back and access them whenever you want. To enable it you have to head to Settings and Notifications and then Advanced Settings. On the next screen you should find an option called Notification History. If you tap this and it's already switched on, you'll see any and every notification from the last 24 hours, plus any that you've dismissed recently. If it's not toggled on, just switch it on and then you can come back here anytime to find anything you've missed or dismissed. Flash for notifications. Now if you want to make sure you don't miss your notifications at all, you could always have your screen or camera LED flash to get your attention. It's been designed for people who don't hear that well, so you'll find it in the accessibility settings. Open Settings, Accessibility, and then Hearing Enhancements. The option you're looking for is Flash Notification. Tap on this and now you can enable either the camera flash or the screen flash whenever you have a new notification come through. So those have just been a few tips, tricks and features to try on your Galaxy S26 series phone. Let me know which ones you found useful, or if there's anything you found that I didn't mention that you find particularly useful that you want to share. You can use the comments or grab me on social media. If you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe and tap that notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.